Hey everyone, welcome back to No Score. I'm Crichton.
Hey, I'm Mountain.
And for those who don't know, I recently made a pilgrimage where I ascended to the top of Mount Yager. And there, I found a wise, old, enlightened man who said, "Hey man, you guys should do like a video where you compare like movies to their posters and decide which one's better." So, I took the wise words of the shaman to heart. And so today, we will be
looking at some movie posters. Compare them to the movie. We might even disagree. So gather around and watch and see. Poster versus the movie. So basically, we're just doing which is better, the movie or the poster of the movie.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So I got a list of 5, he's got a list of 5, and so
Yeah, you go
we're going to
first.
start, I'm going to start with
We're going to alternate, so you go first.
Predator, the original Predator movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl
Really
Weathers.
good movie. Like this movie.
Yeah, really good movie. I
One
love
of the
this
best
poster
movies
too.
from the 80s.
I love this poster too.
Peak Arnold.
Yeah. Was this right after Conan?
I don't mean physically. Obviously, that was his Olympian days, but I'm talking about movie.
Yeah.
His career-wise. Peak
Yeah.
Arnold. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I personally feel that this movie's better than the poster, but I do
Me
love
too.
this poster.
You son of a bitch.
The poster's really good, but the movie's... come on, the movie's one of the classic 80s movies, yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like this, I don't know if this gun sight's supposed to be the Predator's, like, his eye thingy. Like, the big thing that shoots the hole in the guy with the mustache or whatever.
Yeah, I ain't got time to bleed.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Also, too, I've been now noticing the colors behind Arnold
Yeah,
here.
the infrared, yeah.
Yeah, which is the way the Predator sees his prey, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, my number 1, and I'm going 1 to 5 here, but they're really not in any particular order, is Star Wars poster from Tom Chantrell. I hope I'm saying that right. Chantrell. Was a British artist. There's, I don't know, 5 or 6 different major Star Wars posters that people think about and that we've all been exposed to. There's the Hildebrandt brothers posters, which is more of the fantasy element, where you got, like the big Darth Vader head, and then you got over-sexualized Leia, and then you got like a overly buff Luke Skywalker.
Yeah,
He's
it's
holding
swords
the lightsaber
and
up like-
sorcery, yeah.
It's great as a poster, and it's great as art. It doesn't really, I don't think it portrays that much about the movie itself, which sometimes that's what people like about a poster. They don't want you to give everything away about a poster. But the Tom Chantrell Star Wars, it's got like, you got Luke in the very front and center, and he's got the blaster aiming at you. And then like everything is behind him from that point, because you got, it's almost like a triangle effect, like a 3D effect, where you get the main character in front, and then everything behind it. And what I really like about it is I got the image up here, that's why I keep looking up here. Is the likenesses of the actors. I mean, Tom really nailed the likeness of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Grand Moff Tarkin,
Peter Cushing.
Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
And I really love his Chewbacca too. I mean, everything looks great on it.
Yeah.
I think the likeness of Princess Leia and Harrison Ford are just slightly less as good as the other 3 I mentioned. Because, I mean, the Obi-Wan, to me, that looks like a photograph when I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Luke Skywalker, I mean, Luke's hair, the highlights in his hair, to me, I mean, how you do that with paint, I don't know.
You punched the highlights out of her hair. You punched the highlights out of her hair!
Yeah.
And then you got, the spaceships, you got the Death Star, you got the spaceships. But it really makes you want to see, it's a really classic image. Darth Vader's lightsaber basically looks just like fire coming out of it, and he's got a hilt instead of, what the lightsaber really did look like. But other than that, I mean, it's perfect. However, having said all that, it's one of my favorite posters. Well, but come on, the movie is Star Wars. It changed everything. It changed merchandising. It changed toys. It changed the way other movies were made. I mean, ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, came out of that movie, which to this day is still, doing special effects. Doing special effects for, other movies. And so for my number one, it's Star Wars, the Tom Cantrell poster. However, the movie is better, of course. Yeah, you can't really, the poster's great. The poster's great. So, yeah.
All right. My number 4.
You're like, shut up already. About your Star Wars over there.
My number 4 is the original The Day the Earth Stood Still. I love this poster.
Good film. Great poster.
But, the film is classic. And, I guess it's like groundbreaking. It's always referenced in movies and stuff. I like the movie. However, watching it now, it's kind of boring because there's not this poster would make you think it's like similar to Independence Day or like the Iron Giant, or there's gonna be a lot of action throughout the movie. And then you watch the movie and it's this guy. He comes down from another place. I can't remember. And with Gort the robot, and he's like, "Hey, everyone! If you guys continue war, Earth, you're gonna destroy Earth." And it's a good movie with commentary and stuff on that. And the only real action-ish scene we get is when the girl has to go tell Gort, Klaatu, Brad, and Nikto, or whatever, to get him to not kill everybody after the guy dies of a disease or whatever. I personally think this poster is better than the movie, but that
Blasphemy!
It has a lot of legacy, yeah. So, yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Two things. The movie's really good, and it only suffers from being a product of its time. They could only do so much.
Than the Keanu Reeves one.
Well, yeah. That's a great example.
Yeah.
Well, the remake was able to do anything they wanted to, special effects wise, and so they didn't really focus that well on the story. In the 50s, you couldn't really do a whole lot with special effects. So, even though some movies tried and they end up looking cheesy.
Yeah.
I don't look at this as one of the non-cheesy 1950s sci-fi thrillers or movies or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
It's more cerebral. It's more about the message than the visuals, and that's great. Back then, the posters gave you the visuals that the movie and the special effects of the day could not. But I like... It's been a while since I saw the movie, and I do like the movie, but for me, that's a tie.
I love that poster. I think the poster's better than
the poster is sweet. That's a sweet poster. I'd love to have an original. But
yeah.
But anyway, my number 2 is the 1976 remake of King Kong. To me, the poster is better than the movie. The movie has some charm to it. It's not, I don't think, a horrible movie. Now, when I was a kid and this came out, I loved this movie because I just loved King Kong.
Yeah.
But I also loved the poster. I remember having the poster, at least some version of it. I don't know, maybe it was from Burger King or something. I don't know. But I remember having the poster. I've got an original poster now over here on the wall from the 76 release. It's a great image. It's... instead of King Kong ascending to the Empire State Building, which they have on the poster in the background, I like that too.
Yeah.
Like he did in the 1933 film, I think it's 33. They chose, and by the way, this was 1976. The Twin Towers had only been completed 2 years prior, maybe in 74, something like that. So that was like the big new thing, was the Twin Towers. So they said, well, let's instead of putting Kong on the Empire State Building like they did before, let's put him on the Twin Towers, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
Now the art is fantastic. I don't have the artist here. I'm sure you folks could look that up, but it's he's straddling both buildings, which the distance between the two doesn't really work out because Kong's like 50 feet. And I don't know the distance between the two buildings, but he wouldn't be able to straddle the building. But it looks. But as a kid, you don't know that.
Yeah.
I was like, that is so cool. Yeah. And then even the movie, when he climbs up, he's a lot smaller than even like one of those buildings because he's climbing up. And I think he does jump from one. Yeah, he does jump from one of the towers to the other tower, which was so cool as a kid because he's trying to get away from the helicopters and everything shooting at him. But the poster, to me, it has so much depth to it because of the city landscape behind it. I just love the poster. Oh, and it does lie. The tagline is the most exciting original motion picture event of all time. Well, number one, it's not original because it's a remake.
Yeah.
And it's not the most exciting. It was okay. It's a decent, and then in the film, they kind of changed some things. They changed to where, instead of going to the island to shoot, some creatures that they'd never seen before to where they can make a movie off of it.
Yeah.
They change it towards an oil company, a big oil company that thinks there's some oil on this island, so they're going there to get all the oil reserves.
Yeah.
So it's product of that time too, which was the mid '70s. The whole oil shortage and all that stuff. But yeah, poster better than the movie.
They should have called it King Kong Goes to Wall Street or something. Well, that's where the Twin Towers.
Yeah, I know, but still. He's day trading. King Kong day trading.
Yeah. He's gonna short some stocks. So,
I forgot about the Jessica Lange part real quick. In the remake, they just find her floating on a survivor raft because apparently she was on a ship that wrecked and like a party crew, like a cruise line or something, and they just find her floating and they bring her aboard. I'm like, that's just lazy.
My number 3 is the 1996 Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio in it.
Boo!
I think this movie's hilarious. I first watched it when I was in high school because my English class had read the play first, and then my English teacher was like, hey, you want to see a version of this play set in the 90s, but it's like gang wars? I think this movie's hilarious because they keep all the King James Bible text from the original Shakespeare play. So, you're watching a movie set in the 90s, and they're saying, Romeo, oh Romeo, wherefore art thou, oh Romeo? It's hilarious. And they're, referring to their guns as swords and stuff. But I think this poster's funny, too, because of, every single person has a gun.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? Some of the Justice League covers where they got the heroes over here and the villains, and they're just, head-to-head.
Or X-Men covers do that all the time.
Yeah, X-Men covers do that a lot of times, yeah. So, I don't like that movie. I will never watch it again. So the poster wins for me.
I guess this is the Montagues and this is the Capulets.
Right.
But their faces on the poster. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
for
hilarious.
me. The poster wins. I
think the movie's better, but
I watched it when it was on HBO way back in the day, and I was like, I wanted to like it, and I knew what they were trying to do. They were they were taking Romeo and Juliet, the play, and setting it in a modern setting.
Yeah.
Instead of swords, you got guns. You know, and the family battle between the two families and all this, but. Some ideas just shouldn't be tried. I don't know. My number 3, one of the classics of all time, Jaws. 1975 Jaws poster/movie. To me, the movie's a great movie. It's one of the classic movies ever. But so is the poster. The poster is done by artist Roger Castell. To me, this is a tie. I love the movie. And I love the poster. The poster for me, I'm looking at an image of it over here. You've got, the artist took the book novel. There's the original,
cover,
the cover of the original novel that the film was made from by Peter Benchley. Yeah, Peter Benchley. Yeah, Peter Benchley. And if you ever see the original, it's like a mud shark or so. I don't know what that is. Like a guppy. It's just black and
cutter shark.
It's basically just gray tone and black, and the girl is really small and just I don't know. So he took that image and he reworked. He took the idea of that image, which is still a great idea, and he reworked it and just made it so much better. The art is fantastic.
Yeah.
He portrays the size of the shark because in the movie you don't really see the shark a whole lot. And as a kid, I was like, how big is this thing? It's hard to tell. You do see a couple of shots.
Yeah.
I mean, they tell you it's like a 35-foot or whatever, but
Yeah.
But in the poster, you're like, that's a huge. I mean, you got scale there with the girl. That shark. There's no shark that's ever been that big, I don't think, unless it's from the prehistoric times. But and then as a kid too, we knew the girl was naked, so we kind of like she was naked.
Oh, groovy, baby.
But you can't really. The artist does it in such a good way that like he uses the water. You can tell she's supposed to be naked, and she is naked, but you don't really see anything. And that's a really good way of doing it, especially for 1975. They're not going to release a poster. It's got nudity on it.
Yeah.
But she's nude. You get the idea that she's nude, but you don't really see anything.
Yeah.
And I love that. And plus, the rows of teeth. See, I could go on for days about this poster. The rows of teeth that he shows the shark having.
Yeah.
Is really because that's how sharks are. And plus it's been parodied so many times. You know the poster?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned it, but for me this is a tie. The movie is equally as good as the poster. The movie's a little slow compared to now.
Yeah.
Because it's more of a, it's more of a dialogue type. There's not as much action. My favorite part is once they go out on the boat, the three, Hooper, Chief Brody, and Quint. Because some of the funniest moments happen, you're going to need a bigger boat and all that stuff. Yeah. So, and then I forgot he smashes the radio. Quint does because he doesn't want Chief calling in for more. Yeah. Quint's crazy. He smashes the radio, and Chief's like, Quint. "Well, that's just great. You're certifiable, Quint. You know that? You're certifiable." But it's crazy, like, yeah. I love that. Every time I watch it, I'm like, "You're certifiable." But I tell you this. Oh boy! That's when he's coming back around.
Yeah.
You're certifiable. I love that.
I think.
So for me, it's a tie. Jaws poster, Jaws movie, tie.
Nah, the movie's better than the poster.
The movie's great.
Poster. I think that
you can't argue. You can't argue.
There's a Stray Dogs cover of that, but I definitely think the movie's better. I love when they're sitting on the boat and he's talking about the USS Indianapolis. I think that's the one. Mm-hmm. And then they're singing the "Had a little drink about an hour ago."
And then you see
it's gone right. Yeah, and then the barrels come up.
Well, no, you see that he pounds into the boat. The wood part of the bottom.
Well, yeah, but that's after. But like while they're singing that, you see the barrels.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think that.
So that's my number 3.
Better, but
once again, by
now Jaws.
Yeah.
3. Wait, no. Is it Jaws? It's either. Yeah, it's Jaws 3 because it's the 3D poster. Because it's got the girl who's doing the one thing where the skiing. Ski. Yeah, I like that poster.
Any poster is better than Jaws 3.
That movie's garbage.
This paper is better than Jaws 3.
Okay, break. My number 2 is Enter the Dragon.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Great poster.
I love this poster, yeah. Now, I've seen this movie. I rented it from Family Video when I was like 10. So it's been a while since I've seen it. Yeah. But from what I remember, I feel like this poster is better than the movie.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, the poster just screams 70s.
It's so cool.
I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I remember about the movie, the best parts of the movie, of course, is the Bruce Lee fight scenes.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you anything about the plot. I mean, now I saw it a long time ago. I probably saw it about
I remember there's that
15 years ago, but
I remember the nunchuck part.
I remember everybody knows the nunchuck scene, yeah.
I also liked the part when they were like, and he's in this whole room of mirrors or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the posters.
Yeah, that poster's awesome.
I don't know who the artist was, but you've got the actors on there. You got
John Saxon's in this movie.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
The dad from Nightmare on Elm Street and Enter the Dragon.
Yes.
I had no idea.
Yes.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Bruce Lee was so big in the early 70s, from like whatever.
Yeah.
From 70 to like 75. I mean, I remember everything was about kung fu, like kung fu fighting. That stupid song. Everything was kung fu.
Yeah.
Until Star Wars, and then everything was science fiction.
I think I heard something one time that right after this movie was like the highest rates of nunchuck related injuries or something.
That sounds right.
Which is hilarious, I think.
Because Bruce Lee made it look effortless. And then you get a pair and you're like, oh!
I hit myself in the face with a piece of wood.
All right, now my number 4 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood by Quentin Tarantino. The poster, I thought I had it on my phone here. The poster's really good. It screams 70s. Come on, give it to me. There we go. Yeah, you got the three main actor leads. You know, Brad Pitt, Leonardo, and what's her name? Harley Quinn?
Yeah. Oh, crap. What's her stupid name? Yeah.
Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie, yeah.
Yeah. They look so cool. They got two of them got sunglasses on. They just look so hip and cool. Almost too cool for the poster. And, of course, Leonardo always looks great. And then, you know, but I love the way the poster screen 70s. It's got the car down here. Yeah. First of all, it's that art style from the 70s. It's a painted poster. It's not a photo poster. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, he's got the picture of the Cinerama, the cinema down here, the theater, which was, you know, from that time. Oh, and, you know, and I know what Quentin Tarantino was trying to do with the film. You know, who am I to judge Tarantino? But he loves that era of Hollywood film. You know, from like the early 70s, well, late 60s really to like the mid 70s or so. And I think he was just trying to like, it was basically like a love affair that he was making. 60s, yeah, because you know, Leonardo's an actor of that time period, and he's, you know, he's having to do some TV roles of westerns or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, to keep some cash going.
Yeah.
But what I didn't really care about the movie was he takes some historical figures like Bruce Lee and the Sharon Tate, you know, the Manson family. I think Charles Manson himself.
Yeah.
And he kind of plays around with...
Well, they have that whole scene on Spawn Ranch and stuff. So.
Huh?
They have that whole scene on Spawn Ranch and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the movie was just too long. I mean...
It was a long movie.
I don't know.
Yeah. But and you can do stuff like that. You can take historical figures and play with them and do things with them that weren't historically accurate.
Yeah.
But for this particular movie, I just wasn't into it. I was like, okay. Well, I think they do that with what's the Hitler movie with Brad Pitt?
Oh, Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah, don't they do that in that?
I haven't seen that.
That's not they do some historic, especially the ending, right?
It's not historically accurate, the movie.
But people like that, so whatever. But I like the poster much better than the film. The poster is really cool. This is like one I just recently kind of discovered. I just think the poster is really cool. There's so much going on in this poster. Oh yeah, and then real small up here is Tarantino in the director's chair.
Yeah, that's
himself.
That's great.
Filming the movie, and you got these girls here that were
the Manson family.
The Manson family, basically, and then you got Bruce Lee kicking over here. So yeah. So that's my number 4. And I think the poster's better than the movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I agree. That movie's... so my number 1 is Night of the Living Dead. And this is going to be a controversial one because I understand people are like, this is a groundbreaking movie. It's the, like, best of... Well, not the best, I guess. The, like, last black and white horror movie. It was what people see as the transition in between from Psycho to, like, Halloween. But I love the movie and the poster, but watching the movie, some of the characters are annoying. Like Barbara, all she does past like the first 10 minutes of the movie is just, she's mute. Like, she doesn't talk or whatever. She's just like, huh, huh. She's hysterical the whole movie. And then the bald dad guy, oh, I hate that guy. And I get you could say, well, Romero wrote that character that way on purpose. I hate that guy. He's such a douche. And then I know a lot of people are fans of the way the movie ends, but I hate that ending. It's blue balls. I hate it. It's the worst. Because you get attached to the protagonist, and then he's just bang, and you're like, oh. Man,
this poster is really kind of disturbing. I mean, it's all black and white except for the logo.
Yeah, I love it. Well, because this is the scene where the mom gets stabbed with the spade. Yeah.
I mean, this is... Yeah. To me, this poster is very disturbing.
And this is the scene after the people get stuck in the truck that's on fire or whatever, and they're eating their body. Yeah. Right, so this is a zombie eating like a leg. Yeah. I love this poster.
Now, this says 50th anniversary, right? Poster? It's probably from a DVD. I mean,
know.
was this what the original poster, or one of the original posters looked like?
I'm not for sure. This is the only one that came up when I looked for it, but
Oh, it probably is.
but this is the one I was
and
thinking.
the tagline's cool. They won't stay dead.
Yeah.
So you like the poster better than the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, the poster.
I know
Cool.
it's going to be controversial, but I do love.
Now, is that art or is that photo? That looks like art.
It looks like art to me.
Yeah, that's art.
Yeah. This
really
part, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a photo, because that looks just like that brother.
Well, it's really good. I mean, he's got the likenesses very nice. I like that.
Yeah.
I think the woman screaming here in the bottom is
yeah.
really.
Yeah.
And then plus you got some naked people. Naked people walking around with other people screaming is always disturbing. Because you're like, when people are screaming, you don't want to be naked. Because that's just like horrific. It's like, what happened?
Take your damn clothes off!
And what's your number one?
That's not number 1. It's number 5. Because remember, I'm going 1 to 5.
Okay.
It's important.
It is?
Yeah. 1 to 5. So my number 5, because you were going 5 to 1.
1 to 1 and 1 and 5. Okay.
Is the 1933, I think it's 33, Frankenstein movie. But it's a certain poster. It's a very rare poster. It's this Frankenstein 6 sheet, what they call a 6 sheet. Supposedly there's only one in existence, and of course the Metropolis boys own it. Metropolis Collectibles. Vinny and the fish, the big fish.
Fish.
They call him Big Fish, yeah. The poster's just really cool. It's just an image of Frankenstein, and he's staring down the female lead. I don't know her name. I can't remember the name. It's been a while since I saw the film. I like the film. It's one of the most classic monster movie, horror, Universal Pictures, whatever, of all time. It's just, and watching it, it's a product of its time. It moves a little slow. It's not really scary by today's, standards. Yeah. Back then, people were freaking out. They were scared. It got cut to pieces. I'm trying to remember. I think it's the scene where he throws the little girl.
The girl in the lake, yeah.
That got cut, and it got added back in later.
Yeah.
Once sensibilities weren't so. And there was something else they cut too. I can't remember what, but there were some things they cut. Oh! How could I forget this? Where he creates him. He's like. He says something like, all my life I've wondered what it was like to be God. Now I finally know what it like to be God, or something.
Yeah.
They cut that out for religious reasons because hey, that's a little just too much.
Yeah.
But that's been added back in.
Yeah.
Because we don't just hear something and see something, all of a sudden start behaving that way. We can think for ourselves now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. So I like the film. I like to watch it, but I think when I watch it more of as a study of film time. You know what I'm saying?
I guess, yeah.
I don't watch it as a film itself anymore.
I don't know.
Because it's definitely not scary.
Well, yeah, but I mean...
I felt sorry for Frankenstein because he's getting beat a lot. He's back, He's getting beat. But the poster...
Yeah.
The reason there's only one, like I said... Back in that time period, the 30s, when a theater was showing a film... They would put the posters up on the side, like the brick of the side of the movie theater, and they slapped this glue on the side, and they would put the posters up. And then when the movie was not showing there anymore, and they was on to the next film, they would either glue another poster over top of that, or they would tear that poster down. So you got glue. So there's none of these that survived. The only reason there's this one that survived, this 6 sheet, which is huge, it's like 80 inches by 60 inches or something.
Yeah.
Is because it was folded away in a suitcase or something, and it was found in the 90s, I believe, in like the Universal, some kind of like where they kept like a lot of like items or something from like they had moved, and it was like a storage facility basically, where a lot of these items were kept and just forgotten about for years, and somebody I think had found it, and so they called up Metropolis because they buy a lot of movie posters and sell a lot of movie posters, and they I don't know what they paid for it, this, that, and the other, but it was like I said, it was the 90s. But if that poster was to come to market, or one like it, let's say there was 2 somehow, if one like it was to come to public auction, I would guess and say $3 to $4 million, but I could be wrong, because it's a very rare poster. There's only one of known to exist right now. So whatever. But having said all that, I don't know if I said it, but I like the poster better than the movie.
I gotta say I disagree.
Okay.
I mean, I like the poster, but I mean, it's just kind of him and then the girl, and I like it.
Well, plus you got like all that little.
I like the skeleton in the back too.
Well, yeah, you got like the beaker, and you know, there's kind of it looks like a science lab of the of the 30s.
This movie's awesome. I know people.
I like the movie.
People usually say like Bride of Frankenstein and Son of Frankenstein are better. I haven't seen those last two.
Did you say Young Frankenstein?
Son of Frankenstein.
Okay.
Well, Young Frankenstein is awesome too. I love that movie.
Yeah, well, that's a comedy. You can't compare that though. Young Frankenstein is awesome. It's Frankenstein. It's Frankenstein.
But Frankenstein. I mean, it cuts so much of the book out that's kind of just like I'm so glad they cut out like the.
What do you like better, the book or the movie?
I think I like the movie better.
Okay.
I mean, they're
sort of like
you could say because
they took
it's
out
different.
needless parts.
Because, I mean, you couldn't really do this in the book. They cut out the part where Frankenstein learns how to speak English or whatever. Because in the book, basically, they're like Frankenstein sends a letter to the doctor. I mean, the monster sends a doctor to Dr. Frankenstein or something, and I think they meet at like a cave. It's been a while since I read the book. And then he explains all this backstory of like how he learned how to speak English and all this stuff. Because he was like staying under this house or whatever. Mm-hmm. And just so happens the people in the house, they had a family member move in who didn't know how to speak English either, so they had to teach her English. So Frankenstein, the monster, learns how to speak English alongside this girl, and it's like, wow, that's convenient. I mean, but the book does that so Frank, the monster, can express his feelings about, like, you created me, you're supposed to be my father, but you suck, or whatever. And in the movie, they just kind of make it like he's like an abused dog or something, and I think that works better. And, I mean, you add in Igor, and I love the movie. It's awesome.
I like the movie.
I think I
like the movie.
Yeah.
But I think the poster is just, I mean, it's, especially, I've never seen it in person, but I have seen fairly good photographs of it online, and it's just like, especially since it's so big and in person, it's like,
oh yeah.
if you were to see it in person and stand next to it, it would be like, wow. And, you know, the art's on it's great. It's a stone lithograph of the time. That's how they were made. It was just like, you know, whatever. So, and it's, you know, it was hard for me to find examples of where the poster is better than the movie. Because a lot of times I sit there and I go, okay, oh yeah, I like that poster. And I go, oh yeah, but the movie rocks. Like Star Wars. I'm like, I love that Tom Chantrell poster, but like the movie, it's Star Wars. I mean, give me a break, you know?
Yeah.
So.
So, I guess we'll just do a
recap!
Recap.
Recap. My number one, well, no particular order. The Tom Chantrell Star Wars poster. The movie is better than poster, but only because it's like one of the best movies ever.
I agree. Yeah.
The movie, you know, that doesn't take anything away from the poster. Oh, and I didn't mention.
Well, it's okay.
Hold on, real quick.
Okay.
Tom apparently sold the original artwork to that poster. I believe 20th Century Fox bought it for back then £2,000 in 1977. Adjusted for inflation and the U.S. dollar, that would be $11,693 in today's money, to the best of my ability to figure that out.
Googling ability.
Yes.
It was my understanding that there would be no math.
Which is way too cheap. If the original artwork for that ever came up, you're talking maybe $5 million. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay. And the number 2 is King Kong. The poster, the 1976 version, poster better than the movie. Jaws, 1975. To me, that's a tie. I love both. I love the poster. One of the most iconic posters ever and movies ever. Number 4, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The Tarantino movie. I like the poster better than the movie. And number 5, 1933, I think it was, Frankenstein. 6-sheet poster. Just the 6-sheet version better than the movie. Which the movie's great too.
I think the movie's
I know.
So I did number 1, Night of the Living Dead. I think the poster's better.
I agree.
Nobody else is, except for maybe you, will agree with that.
I agree.
Enter the Dragon. I think the poster's better.
I agree with that.
1996 Romeo and Juliet. I think the movie's better.
Wrong poster. Poster's better.
the original The Day the Earth Stood Still. I think the poster's better on that one.
I think that's a tie. That's a push, as they say.
And Predator. I think the movie's better in that one.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because it's a really good movie.
Yeah.
And it's almost... The poster's almost just like a basic, just a photo job of Arnold with the sights on it.
Yeah.
It's cool, because you get the sense that he's being hunted.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's it for today. Make sure to look out for our next episode of the Movie Dump. Movie Dump episode 2. We'll be reviewing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, The Next Generation. So, yeah. See ya. Alright. Hey everyone, welcome back to Norse... Ugh.
Norse gods!
The Norse
You're so stupid, Rose! Rose, you're so stupid! Okay. Now we're in full Beavis and Butthead mode!